I knew something was wrong the moment I stepped through the door and heard applause. Not the polite, scattered kind, the full-throated roar of people celebrating something that had nothing to do with me. The family dinner my mother insisted I attend, just us, nothing big, sweetheart, had turned into 81 people packed shoulder to shoulder in my childhood home. A balloon arch sagged over the chipped doorway, paper confetti stuck to the floorboards, and at the center of the chaos hung a banner wide enough to cover half the living room wall, "Welcome, baby Selena." My sister, glowing, my parents, teary. My bonus, a year's worth of overtime, promotions, and the last pieces of my patience spent on a child who wasn't mine and a celebration I wasn't invited to plan. Mom cupped my face, laughing like nothing was wrong. "We used your bonus for family joy," she said, as if I should be proud. I smiled, just a small one, the kind you make when you're memorizing the moment for later. Noted. We weren't always like this. There was a time I trusted them, stupidly, blindly. I believed in the softness of Sunday breakfasts, in the quiet reverence my father held for family unity, in my mother's constant reminders that we take care of our own. I worked, they depended. I didn't mind. Back then, I called it love. It took years to see how carefully they shaped me into a resource rather than a child. Every compliment tied to another ask. Every "we're so proud" followed by "could you send a little more?" I mistook their need for affection, their demands for closeness. It wasn't until 2 months before the dinner that the shift began. A missing deposit. A transaction I didn't remember authorizing. A signature that looked almost like mine. I shrugged it off. Once. Twice, then came the third, and the fourth. By the sixth, I stopped making excuses. People reveal themselves slowly, like rust spreading beneath paint. But once I saw the pattern, the whole structure collapsed. I didn't confront them, I didn't cry, I didn't accuse. I observed. Patterns, contacts, quiet conversations when they thought I was asleep. A call my mother took, whispering, "Yes, the money cleared. Don't worry, she won't check." She didn't realize I was standing in the doorway. Something inside me cooled. Not anger, not heartbreak, something cleaner, sharper, purpose. I spent nights gathering documents, checking registry logs, contacting legal departments, resetting passwords they didn't know I knew. I traced every transfer, every accidental withdrawal, every forged authorization. Every betrayal, documented, dated, and ready. I didn't need to confront them emotionally. I only needed to confront the system they'd weaponized against me. So when I stood under the banner celebrating a baby I'd never met, surrounded by relatives cheering with my money, I didn't feel anger. I felt clarity. I kissed my sister's cheek, hugged my parents, let them believe everything was fine. Because the thing about revenge is simple. It tastes better when served to people who think they're safe. That night at 2:14 a.m., I sat at my laptop in the guest room they claimed was still mine. It wasn't. Nothing in that house belonged to me. Not anymore. So I reclaimed what did. I froze every joint account under my name, filed fraud reports with timestamps and documentation so detailed the bank rep apologized for me being put through this ordeal. I reversed 15 transfers, each one clicking into place like a puzzle finishing itself. Funds flowed back into my accounts, quiet, obedient. Then came the deed. A property they'd transferred into their names 6 years earlier for tax purposes. Except the transfer was forged, and the original title was, with delicious legality, mine. By morning, the records were corrected. The house they used, the money they spent, the lies they lived, returned to their rightful owner, me. At sunrise, I walked into the kitchen. Mom was humming. Dad was stirring coffee. Both blissfully unaware. I placed the corrected deed on the table. Their eyes widened. Not immediately in fear, confusion first, then dawning horror. Then the realization that their kingdom had been built on documents I now controlled. "You used my bonus for family joy," I said softly. "Now I'm returning the favor." They begged, pleaded, reached for explanations that had never existed. I didn't raise my voice, didn't insult them. I simply turned, walked to the front door, and locked it, from the outside, as I left. A symbolic gesture, but symbols matter. Party's over. People think revenge is rage. For me, it was quiet. A steady exhale after years of holding my breath. A correction, not cruelty. They taught me what family meant. I simply returned the lesson, written in the same ink they used on me. Now, when I think of that banner, I smile, because the next banner they hang will read something truer.